let me start off with you, Mr. Dele Fanimo. As a reporter, you've been able to cover quite a lot, whenever we talk about journalism and all that. What do you really make of this particular call for us to amend the Electoral Act of 2022, to go back now to make sure we hold the executive election, I'm talking about the governorship and presidential election, 185 days before the time that people are supposed to take it? What do you make of this, please?
You see, I'm even worried about the position these people are taking. It's like a bandwagon position. But I have a different view. You see, we always talk about abuse of process. We say it even before we start the process. For me, taking back the election 6 months before the expiration of the tenure of whoever is on that seat doesn't really matter. What matters is, one, the advantage of doing that is you would have exhausted the process of litigation within 6 months, which is also enshrined in the Electoral Act. If you have to go to tribunal, you want to go to appeal court, and sometimes Supreme Court, depending on the suit, you would have exhausted the process, and it will bring about you. As a matter of fact, it is only when somebody who had been elected and sworn in now has to vacate office that makes it more cumbersome, because you would have spent so much money on the inauguration of that person, and maybe after 2 months or 3 months the court says no, it's not the right person, and then you have to spend more money to do another inauguration. And most of these people, when they want to come into government house, from the beddings to the furniture, everything would have to be changed. Now, at whose expense would that be? And if a governor is sworn in today and the court declares that governor not suitable for that seat and somebody has to come in, I can tell you, if it's going to be 1 month after the first swearing in, they would have to go through the same process. And so why are we going through that route?
Now, people are asking this question that this is more like it's a ploy to extend the present administration's stay in office, given the fact that it is now that they want to start counting 185 days backwards from May 27 after the handover process. Why is it that, that National Assembly, or rather before now, did not really look into this? Why start it at this point in time?
You see, I don't see any logic in that.
And you don't think that the 90 days gap, I'm talking about the 90 days after this, is going to help the incumbents now more like frustrate the efforts of anybody that's going to come up to succeed them, especially if they lose out in the election?
Look, if Tinubu loses election in November, he has the next 6 months to fight back or not. How is it logical to say that is an advantage? I don't understand.
He's still there. He's still the president.
Look,
the handover process have not done.
It is even more worrisome. It is even more worrisome if somebody who is not the right occupier of that seat comes in, and the other person that is challenging is outside. The man outside is spending his personal money, but the moment that person has opportunity of sitting on that seat, he will now deploy both human and material resources of the state to fight whoever is fighting from outside. So that person gets undue advantage over his opponent that is fighting from outside. But if the two of them are fighting from outside, it's a level playground.
So does it mean, are you saying that for the next 90 days that it's going to take, after if we were to go by this particular amendment now to push the election, 185 days behind the former handover period, are you trying to say that Nigeria will be without a leader prior to the time of the handover?
How can you say that?
So now, wouldn't that be more like giving more rights to the person, maybe, if the president is to lose the election,
let me tell you,
to be using the state funds to fight the person, maybe to go for the tribunal, fighting the back and forth.
Haven't we seen this happen in the past? Agabu was in government, he was on seat when the court declared him not suitable for that seat. Will he not vacate? what's this man's name in Edo?
Serena Osubo.
Osubo was on seat, and Oshiomhole was declared the winner of that seat. He had to vacate. Segun Oni the same thing in Ekiti State.
How good?
So which logic are we pushing?
How
now?
good has that done for Nigeria, given the fact that any money spent by anybody, I'm talking about the governor now or the president, while in office, should not be asked for?
That is the more reason why.
So
that is more reason why you, even when you win election, you should not be sworn in to have access to state fund before before exhausting the processes of the law. So you are only laying credence to why that thing should go.
No, she's asking.
I'm asking a question.
She's asking the question.
No, I'm just telling you that you have assisted me in laying credence to it, that because you are not going to be in office, so you are not going to have access to state resources.
All right, let's bring this question to Elvis Limehele. What are your thoughts on this? Elections held in November, as against February or March that we used to have. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a dicey situation because, like Mr. Dele was trying to, make us understand, it's still the same thing. The man, even if the election holds in November 2026, he's still going to be in the office. Probably the INEC, if he's contesting and INEC declares him the winner, and the opposition is saying no, we won the election, we are in court.
They want to contest.
The incumbent will still remain in office. He will still have access to the same government coffers because he's still there, and he will still be using all the resources that belongs to you and I to, fester his way to remain there. So it has not really made any difference. I think where the opposition is actually coming in here, where they are saying, "Oh, we don't need it," is one, the incumbent has so much resources that even if the election is going to hold tomorrow, to deploy to get themselves in. Okay. But opposition don't have that. People, they have to tell the people what they have to give to them. Sell their ideas. People now begin to buy into their ideas. And from there, finances may start coming in. But the incumbent have enough finance that even if the election is holding tomorrow, they can go to the pool and trash it out. Especially when he also has another favor they also have is that even the organizers of the election came from them, were appointed by them. So that also favored them. So, but the opposition from at the fringes doesn't have that. So I think that's where they are coming in. Give us time to also sell our own ideas, manifestos and ideology to people. One, give us also time for people to accept us and begin to also say, okay, let me see if I can put my money into this party. Two, because they don't have it as much as the incumbent. So these are some of the ways they are looking at it, that why don't we give us this time? That we have barely, if this election is going to hold by 2026 November as been suggested, we have just 1 year.
Which means not enough time to campaign.
No, it's not enough for a country like Nigeria, especially now what we are talking about now, because you have to start talking about ethnicity, how to take that one out. Because those are some, because we talk so much of ethnicity in Nigeria and tribe when we are talking about election.
So if you have 2 years to campaign, would that give you enough time to remove that?
No, not totally removing it, but at least making people to understand that all the trajectory we have been having before are just mere slogan. Has it worked? It has not worked when they tell you, okay, this man is from my place, so you must follow him. Then, this is part of my religion. We have to start debriefing people. It's not the way you and I will understand it.
I don't need more than 1 year to do that.
Well, it can be 1 year, it can be less than, but it depends on the resources that the political party the opposition have to move. You have to talk of campaign, you have to talk of advert, you have to talk of one-on-one, you have to talk of town hall meetings.
We understand that these things are going on already.
Yeah. They are going on. They are going on, but it is not as if it is it's legalized now. INEC have told us that they have not lifted ban on campaign. It has not started, but everything you are just saying, those are some of the issues we are talking about now. Because they are in power, they have so much resources. That's why you see they are the one actually doing it now. All in the name of empowerment, moving around, and when they get there, they change the slogan. So these are some of the issues.
No, the issue is that even if you allow it to stay the way it was before, it will even be to the advantage of the sitting government.
Yes,
because by then, it will be in the faces of people. The empowerment will be in the faces of people. If you empower people between January and February and March and go to elections, it's still fresh in their mind. You know, so this thing is neither here nor there. But my question in all of this is, you talk about the briefing. If we are unable to debrief, if we can't use 1 year to debrief, I mean, we have done 26 years, and we have not been our campaigns have just been running around the same issues for the past 26 years. So what guarantee does it make that, you know, in the next 1 year, or about 1 year, like people are proposing, that the difference will be made?
It depends on the political party and who the political party is bringing in, and coupled with the present situation we are going through now. Nigerians have come to see now that our problem is not religion, our problem is not ethnicity. But our problem is the good leader that will take Nigeria as its entity, whether the man from Sokoto or the man from Lagos is facing the same problem. Number one, that's number one. Number two, when this government was coming in, when they came up with Muslim tickets, people were thinking that, okay, it was going to be like, it's going to favor the Muslim more. Today, we go to the same market, go to the same petrol station, we do everything, we pay the same school fees. The ASU strike we are talking about, that we're just talking about now, some of their children are also there now in school that are going to also experience it. So it doesn't matter who is there as, but what matters is the person there actually portraying, doing the bidding of Nigerians.
The point is, how do we get that person there? It's through the political process, the process of campaign, the process of electioneering, and all of that. I think that's what the issue is.
Campaign and throwing the people to the people, throwing that person to the people early enough for people to be able to scrutinize and see, okay, we knew Peter Obi in the platform when he was in platform, this platform that is being organized by this yes. That was when we knew Peter Obi. Some other persons are still in Nigeria today that some other opportunity will be thrown up between now and that time. And is this man like this? Where has he been? So such opportunities will come. So we need to look.
No, Elvis, let's get back to this point now. This shift, you know, in election day, bringing it backwards, you know, how does that affect the potential, you know, the chances of the incumbent, of the ruling party? How does that affect them in winning elections? Because apparently that is the issue opposition is kicking against. The opposition is saying, look,
it confers undue
advantage on the ruling party. How does that confer advantage over the and they are also saying that, looks like tenure extension, you know, is the underlying factor.
It's not the tenure extension. I'm looking at it from the angle that they have the resources with them.
Okay.
And they have the structure in their hands, because
which they will always have. Even if you make it a move to the handover date.
Yeah, they will always have it. But this opposition is also like, let me also have opportunity to talk to people to see if I can get the financiers of to do my bidding as well, that buy my ideas. Because even if you hold this election tomorrow, the incumbent has all it takes to be part of that election at any time the timetable is rolled out.
Chukuma, let me just add this. How long did it take Peter Obi to take Labour Party tickets and fight to that extent that he almost upset?
So basically you're saying we don't need that much time.
You don't need it. You don't need it. How long did APC came into the fray? Less than 11 months. And they were able to rout PDP that have been there for 16 years.
But do we need time for election matters to be dealt with?
Yes. That is why I'm totally in support of this new bill.
For 6 months?
Yes.
In America, where we copy their democracy from, they organize their elections
How many litigations
in November.
In
They organize the elections in November, and by January, the handover process is already done and dusted. So why do we need 6 months in Nigeria for us to do that?
Because America is peculiar to America. Nigeria is peculiar to Nigeria.
Isn't this more like indulging us to continue being peculiar?
Even when it was very glaring that they rigged the election for George Bush Jr., Americans said we will not upset the system, and they wrapped it up and allowed it to rule. In Nigeria, even when you know you have lost the election, you still want to go to court. Okay. So we have seen it. You need to law takes precedence from what has happened in the past. Now we have seen that there is no election since 1999 that was not challenged in court. And we know that it takes like 180 days. That is why we have off-cycle elections today. And that has been enshrined in the constitution that electoral matters should not last beyond 180 days. So if this bill is now adding just 5 days to it, we need to go back to the books.
All right, then let's go back to Benin. I'm not certain if we still have Benin with us, but we do have. Okay. Now let's get your thoughts on this one. You know, ADC and the PDP are saying no, this is not the way to go. Don't bring back elections to November. Well, you've heard the permutations in the studio. What are your thoughts?
I think that the focus is not appropriate from the state. And I'm
What's
starting
your
from
focus? What would you have us focus on? Go ahead.
The opposition's response is more like a knee-jerk reaction, not properly thought through. Knee-jerk because whatever it is that pertains to what comes from the government of the day must be opposed, rather than looking at it holistically from the standpoint of the import of whatever it is that they have opted for. Now, the line of action of these legislators is not about the people. We are putting the amendment, we are putting to it what was not considered by those who were attempting to do it. The amendment is not meant to remedy impunity. The amendment is not meant to address the issue of free and fair election. The amendment in this case is simply to address the litigation has been going on after people have been sworn in. So that's why I said that the focus is not appropriate, because it's one thing that is a pointer to, first of all, like I affirmed earlier, that our political class are not driven by altruism or the collective good. Most of the time, lawmaking is anchored on what will benefit those who are in the political sphere, who are contesting. That is what this is about. So even if it is worthwhile that it is meant to remedy the issue of litigation, that rather than having the elections 90 days before the officers who are in office handover, it goes 185 days before then. Yes, they now adjust the timeline for litigation to much less than what was in the last Electoral Act. It's worthwhile to the extent that it remedies the controversies that will ensue on litigation. But unfortunately, it is a tip of the iceberg. It is of no consequence in the overall picture of making elections worthwhile in the country. That's what I'm driving at.
Okay.
The 2022 Electoral Act, as amended, is the 5th Electoral Act we have had in this 4th Republic. In the 5 Electoral Acts that we have had in this 4th Republic, what improvement have we gotten in election matters? If you see the data in election participation, rather than improve, it has declined because confidence seems to have diminished. So my point is this: the opposition should rather be conversing on how the election could be better from the standpoint of ensuring optimization of cost-benefit analysis. For example, why would the lawmakers not consider all the elections taking place one day? Electronic voting has made things a lot easier. Why mobilize the police another day? Mobilize workers another day. When you can spend half of 400 billion, you can spend less than 200 billion and use that money to tar our roads and invest in agriculture and other areas of concern. But so much is being wasted for an exercise that is not even prioritized in terms of primacy placed on universal adult suffrage.
Well, I think that's also part of.
Focus is misplaced.
That's also part of. Go ahead. Land on your thoughts.
My emphasis on focus is that
your thoughts.
this amendment that is going on is deceitful. You see, the lawmakers make it seem like they are working for the people, but it is painful when a job that can be done in days, somebody chooses to do it in 3 years. It doesn't make sense, because the way these lawmakers are operating in Nigeria, it is such that what can be done in 1 week in other states in Nigeria, they make it happen in a year or 2 years, and that amounts to malfunction. That is my point. So this is a distraction. If they are doing the amendment should be holistic and impactful. They should cut down the cost of governance, and the amendment should reflect a situation where elections are more transparent.
All right then.
That is
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much. Well, I'm sure holding elections in 1 day is part of the conversation that we're having. And well, some have said the bandwagon effect that might come with that will also be a problem. So I think the problems are just complex. Problems of Nigeria's elections are complex, but we do hope we'll be able to navigate all of it in due time. You want to add something to that?
Yeah, I say on the issue of whether it's 195 days benefiting the incumbent or not, I think it's quite of no consequence. Because if the incumbent loses, was it not there when the election was conducted? And so that's why I said the issue simply addresses litigation timeline and not other
Thank you
issues
very
that
much.
pertain to our
Thank you very
election to
much.
be.
Absolutely.
Let me just
Absolutely.
add this.
Now let's get into another conversation.
Before you get to the conversation, you see, opposition is lazy in this. What we should be concerned about is removing IREF and BVAS from operational 2 and putting it in the Electoral Act that makes it compulsory that any election that is conducted without the use of IREF and BVAS should be null and void. That's what the opposition should be doing. They are just lazy.
Well, some have even said,
See how all
let's go back
the
to,
postulation, see how it face flat.
some have said, let's go back to option A4 because that works for us. But anyway,